It's all because of this, a derail device, and it stops the Indiana Transportation Museum from running on the track, and that includes the fare train. Right now, the Indiana Transportation Museum is quiet. There's no familiar clickety-clack of train sounds through downtown Noblesville on the weekend. It's because the trains literally can't leave the museum's property. That blue thing on the tracks, think of it as a boot for your car. But because they can't put a boot on a train, they put it on the track, and driving over it would cause the train to fall right off the track. So why is it there? There are many reasons, but it all started after 7 longtime volunteers at the museum blew the whistle on the museum's board of directors.
Every one of us misses being part of the organization.
Tom Nichols spent countless hours over 16 years volunteering at the museum. He's also the former head of the operations board. That was before he was fired from his volunteer position along with the other whistleblowers. He was reluctant to talk to us at first, saying he doesn't want to bring a bad light to the museum, but he agreed to share his story of volunteering at ITM.
One of the things that we all shared was the generosity of our time. We all gave countless hours. Some of us gave our own personal money without asking to be reimbursed.
Nichols says he started seeing issues when money wasn't seeming to match up. And then he says he saw restricted funds being used to pay off debts. Those restricted funds, he says, were supposed to go to operations and repairs.
The real red flag was the consistency of financial reports not always agreeing with what the dispatcher's reports were showing in terms of the ridership, and just kind of the secrecy surrounding everything.
The letter alleges wrongdoings by the museum's board of directors, including questionable financial practices, failure to maintain timely and complete records, and an inability to properly manage the museum. But even though the museum has a whistleblower protection in their general volunteer manual, the group of 7 were still fired. The letter was also sent to the Attorney General and the railroad's owner, the Hoosier Heritage Port Authority, or better known as the HHPA. It's a conglomerate of Fishers, Noblesville, and Hamilton County, and they have an agreement to allow the museum on the line, but the HHPA has the final say. It was after that letter that the HHPA decided to call in the Federal Railroad Administration to review the museum's operations, specifically because of one point on the letter. The HHPA says because of allegations of failing to maintain records on train operations forced them to suspend ITM from using the tracks and add that derail device. At the same time, the Attorney General started investigating the museum, and Call 6 has learned there are 4 ongoing independent investigations into the museum's board of directors. During our Call 6 investigation, a source provided recordings of the most recent board of directors meeting for the museum.
All right, let's call the meeting to order.
The board of directors are heard bashing the whistleblowers, the HHPA, and the director of the HHPA specifically.
And then Rondrick shows up wanting to know why we're running trains out on the main. Well, you've done who put the derails out there.
At one point, some members on the board start talking about the possibility of suing the whistleblowers, but then direct the secretary to strike it from the record.
One action might be is to have our lawyer write to those people and say, show us why we shouldn't sue you for libel.
We'd have to ask him about that. I don't even want to put that in the minutes.
Okay.
We tried to get a response from the museum for weeks, even heading to the president's home. But it wasn't until late Monday night where we actually got a response. The letter says the allegations made by the whistleblowers are completely untrue and referred to their dismissal as a house cleaning. Even though the whistleblowers have heard the recordings and seen the responses, they say they're still hoping to be back working on the trains at ITM one day soon.
We don't want to see ITM as an organization slandered. We're trying to save the place. We're trying to help improve it.
So when will it be back in service? The HHPA says they'll gladly reopen the line as soon as the museum cooperates with investigators. In Noblesville, I'm Call 6 Investigates, Paris Lubell.